The law and the gospel of the test of Abraham from Genesis 22. The law, again, is the bad news. What God tells us to do, but we don't do, the punishment that we deserve. What does that teach us? That story, the test of Abraham? Well, we see in there that God definitely punishes sin. He demands a sacrifice. In one sense, Isaac, even though he's a young guy, deserved to be sacrificed. We all deserve to be sacrificed because we're sinful and broken. We don't always do the right thing, and only perfection can stand with our God. God does punish sin. He needs sin to be punished. He doesn't overlook it. We also see that even sacrificing a son would not satisfy God's punishment, no matter how much we gave up. Our best and dearest thing, even as much as someone we love. That's an ultimate. God never asked anyone to do a human sacrifice like that. But even that wouldn't be enough. Throughout history, different cultures and things have tried to do a sacrifice, thinking that maybe a human sacrifice was enough to make God love them. But that isn't enough. It isn't enough to sacrifice an imperfect human. That's the bad news. We can't do that. With just that, we would be sad and lost. But the good news that we see in this account is that God supplied that ram. He supplied that ram in the story and said, no, 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 don't sacrifice Isaac. I'm going to give you something to sacrifice. And before we think of sacrificing ourselves or trying to do everything to earn favor with God and not doing it, he says, whoa, 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 I don't want you to be killed. I want to sacrifice myself, my one and only son, in your place. We see Jesus did that. He lived perfectly in our place and died innocently in our death. A substitute, a vicarious substitute in both ways. And then by faith, we know this, we see it, and then we choose to sacrifice to help others. We give up things to God, but the main way we do that is by giving up things and loving God's people and the people around us. And God says, like he does to Abraham, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. When we sacrifice and give up, we're never going to be out. Doesn't mean we're going to get rich here and there and pile up wealth because of that's not what God's talking about. He's saying we'll truly be blessed when we give up and we sacrifice. God's going to bless us because he's full of grace. He forgives all our sins and even turns our not so perfect good works into perfection. That's the law and the gospel, the good news. And the big takeaway is this. We see that God loved us enough to not want to sacrifice eternity without us, so that he sacrificed his one and only son, Jesus, in our place. That is great law and gospel.